Hi, I'm Natalie Rydstrom and you're watching World Sports Weekly. Now, there may be a break in the English Premier League, but that doesn't mean there aren't relevant headlines to keep up with that are important from a market's perspective. Here with me now to discuss the recent news is SBR sports writer Mike Richardson. Mike, thanks for joining us.
Hi, Natalie.
Now, a hot topic has been Newcastle United and their pursuit of 24-year-old Montpellier star Remy Cabella. And Newcastle United, however, have only been willing to commit to an €8 million offer, while Montpellier seems to want a little bit more. What's the latest you've heard?
Well, Newcastle don't seem to be like to splash the cash on these sort of things, but after the way they finished last season, I think there's a great deal of rumblings amongst the locals, and I think this sort of signing is the very least that the fans want from Alan Pardew and Mike Ashley. So I think, they should be signing on the dotted line, and if it means that they've got to put their hands a bit deeper in their pockets, that's just what Newcastle's going to have to do. They should also take into account the fact that they're now at 4-7 with some bookies and 2-5 at others to not finish in the top 10. And although they had a good finish to last season, position-wise, the manner of which they did it was not to many fans' liking. So I think, Newcastle better start spending money, or they're not going to be finishing the top half of the table.
That's correct. Will they dip their hands in their pockets a little bit deeper, do you think? Can he expect to get more money?
Yeah, I think they can do, and the club's got a very good relationship with France in general. You know, an awful lot of their players come from France, and they could always be fielded clubs over on France's top flight. So I think, because there's so many other French players there, that makes the club more attractive. So I think, yes, once the money's nailed down, he should be playing for the Black and White next year.
Are you expecting Newcastle to end up in the top 10?
I think Newcastle are one of those coin toss sides. I'm going to wait until the very last minute before I put any money on Newcastle United for next season. They could have another great run. They could have a terrible run. I don't think they're going to be relegated. But then again, I don't think they're going to finish anywhere near high enough for finishing in Europe. The most exciting thing is whether they're going to be finishing above or below Sunderland, their local rivals. But when Newcastle are 8-1 to go down and Sunderland are 5-1 to go down, should be Newcastle.
Okay. Well, Arsenal manager Arsene Wenger has been rumoured to want to sign striker Mario Balotelli. How big of an impact can Balotelli make, and might Arsenal's odds to win the EPL improve because of him?
A massive amount. He's one of those players that can win you games, and I think that's what's been lacking from Arsenal for the past couple of seasons. They're very good at grinding out results and getting by, but then occasionally being torn apart and occasionally dropping points. But similarly, Balotelli, he can come in, he can do something phenomenal, and he can win you games. He can make all the difference, and that's how you win titles. The flip side of that is he's a bit of a live wire, he's a bit of a firework, and you never know quite what's going to happen with him. I think he could help Arsenal out, but then again, it would need somebody maybe with the wits and experience of Arsene Wenger to actually tame him and actually get the best out of him. So I think he could be just the tonic that Arsenal needs. And I think if he does turn up, the odds on Arsenal winning the league will be chopped down a bit. So if you want to get some money on them now, look out for about 10-1, which is the best odds you can get.
Okay. And what about them ending up in the top 4? Is that quite a realistic bet?
I think it's not even realistic. It's just one of those things that they've done it for so often that they've got their fingers tightly, grasped around the top 4 spot. I can't remember a time when they finished outside of the top 4, and I think that's the very least that their fans can expect, and they just seem to do it every single time. So better than Arsenal finishing in the top 4.
Okay, well, there's been a lot of chatter that former Netherlands captain Ronald Koeman is being courted by Southampton. The club will reportedly sweeten the pot by giving Koeman a £50 million budget to play with as a transfer fund. He's priced at 2.25 to accept the job by Bet365. Do you think he will?
Yes, I think the bookies have got this one right. And also think Southampton, because they're going to have an awful lot of business done over the summer, they want to get their manager in place and behind his desk and making transfers as soon as is humanly possible. I see he's around about 4-6 with some of the bookies at the minute, but I think this is just a matter of time before he turns up. Yeah,
is that a really good value bet then, do you think, Mike?
It's one of those, it's short odds, but it seems to be a very, very safe one. I'm going to be sticking a few quid on it. And the good thing about it, even though it's short odds, it's going to be quite a quick return on your money. Because like I said, Southampton are going to want that name on that contract ASAP so they can start doing business in the transfer window and spending some of their Ricky Lambert money.
Yeah, all right. Now, all things considered here, which clubs do you fancy most headed into the EPL season in terms of being the outright winner?
I think you've got a big 2 up there now. It's Man City and Chelsea. I think they both feel Chelsea feel very hard done by that. They had to settle for 3rd last season, and Manchester City, they won the league and they know that they can do it again. I think Liverpool are going to struggle. They're going to have a lot of commitment and they're going to have a lot of expectations, two things that they didn't have last season. So I think Liverpool are more likely to finish outside of the top two, quite possibly even outside of the top four. I reckon it's going to be a two-horse race between Man City and Chelsea, though.
Okay, and quickly, Mike, you know, Manchester United, they obviously had an appalling season last season. And what are we expecting from them this time around?
I think because they've got a new manager, and I think the fans have been tamed a bit by what happened last season with David Moyes, they're not going to be expecting they're just going to run away with the league. I think they'd be perfectly happy to settle for a top four finish. And you can get odds of them at 4-7 or even 1-2 on them doing it. So I think that's the most likely thing, and that's where my Man United money is going.
Is it you think that they can end up in the top four? You know, we do have, like we said, like the likes of Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal. You know, do you think, Manchester City? Like, do you think that they will really be able to kind of like scurry through there in the top four?
Yeah, I think they've got the quality for that, and I think if anybody's going to lose out from the top four, it's probably going to be Liverpool. Man City and Chelsea, I think, will be fighting it out for the top two, and then you've got maybe Man United and Arsenal making out the top four. So I think, yeah, Man United in the top four, that's a pretty safe bet.
All right, wonderful. Mike Richardson, thank you for joining us.
Cheers, Natalie. I'll see you next time.